Rolling a 20 on an attack roll means that you automatically hit, and you deal extra damage. It's a really cool attack. But for ability checks and saving throws, this rule doesn't apply. You don't automatically succeed and get a special effect. But say you thought it might be cool to allow ability checks and saving throws to do something cool on a 20 or a 1. Should you do it? Welcome to Intelligence 14 Wisdom 2, the channel where we think together about how to improve our games. And your game might be better if you have a rule that says that ability checks and saving throws can also have critical successes and critical failures. Let's start with ability checks. So a natural 20 on an attack roll is a critical hit, meaning not only does it automatically hit, it does double damage. It does something extra, something special. And people have extrapolated upon this with critical hit tables and also critical failure tables for attack rolls. Similar things can happen for ability checks. If you roll a 20 on an ability check, not only do you succeed extraordinarily well. For instance, if you're doing an arm wrestling competition versus like a half ogre or something, on a natural 20 for an ability check, you slam their hand on the moment they say go. Everyone's stunned and everybody cheers. It's awesome. Whereas if you just roll a 17, then you might struggle and slowly push it down, and people cheer, but it's not as cool as slam. It makes a better moment, which improves your game. Similarly with failures. If, for instance, the lore bard is trying to help us navigate through the forest so we can get to this town quicker instead of taking the long way around, failure might mean that it takes longer, an extra day or something. Maybe you find a random encounter. Natural 1 might be a really bad failure. After leading you through every possible mud pit you can find in this forest, you stumble out of the tree line, see it, the town, cheer, run to the gate, and realize you are back at the town that you just left from. A day has passed, you have made no progress, and you are tired. That is a natural 1, and that's a great moment. It's a memorable moment. Like, I can't believe you led us to the same town! That's funny. That improves your game. So, critical successes and critical failures on ability checks add to your game, or giving you incredible moments of awesomeness and also really funny failures. You might also end up actually messing up things. For instance, maybe Joe's character rolled a natural 1 trying to get this ally to help us, and so not only are they not going to help us, they're not our ally anymore, they're not our friend. And so we have to send somebody else to go over and patch things up, all because Joe rolled a natural 1. I think it's clear that that giving a critical success or critical failure, something really awesome happening or something really terrible happening when you roll a 20 or a 1 on an ability check is good for your game. It'll improve your game, give you better moments. Now some people think that critical successes or critical failures on ability checks are a bad thing. The idea being that players will try to punch through mountains or convince the king to make them king immediately. And with the 20 they could do that. This concern isn't very valid because most of the times the examples they give, jumping to the moon or convincing the king to give up his throne, those are things that you never call rolls for, or you never should call rolls for. In this video, where I talked about the basics of DMing, I talked a little bit on this topic, and I might want to elaborate on it if y'all are interested. But you only need to call for rolls if the outcome is uncertain. If it's something that could happen and could not happen. It could succeed, it could fail. Jumping to the moon is always gonna fail. Unless you're like a superhero or something, but this is a channel about Dungeons & Dragons, not mutants and masterminds. So you don't need to worry about the power that you're giving your players if they can succeed on a roll with a natural 20. I think it's clear that that giving a critical success or critical failure, something really awesome happening or something really terrible happening when you roll a 20 or a 1 on an ability check is good for your game. It'll improve your game, give you better moments. Now let's talk about saving throws, because these are actually a lot different than ability checks. The idea is that if you roll a natural 20, you, the person saving against a bad thing, completely avoid the effect, which is awesome. And if you roll a natural 1, then the damage is doubled. This again would lead to epic moments of awesomeness or terribleness and things that you will laugh about for years to come. But there's another thing that we need to be careful about, and that is the way that saving throw abilities are designed. They're designed quite differently from attack roll abilities. The main power of saving throw abilities is that usually they are guaranteed damage. They give you half damage if the creature fails, except if it's a cantrip. But besides those, saving throw abilities, when they do damage, they're a guaranteed form of damage. They do less damage than, say, if you're making an attack roll, which can miss entirely, do no damage, but they guarantee damage. Critical success, which allows you to avoid that, gives every character the opportunity to subvert that, to undermine the main reason you'd use a saving throw ability over a single target and attack roll ability. Of course, this is assuming we're talking about single target saving throws as opposed to single target attack rolls. If we're talking about area effects saving throws, then that's a different thing because you're trying to get multiple enemies and spread damage all around as opposed to attack one target with the amount of damage. But that's actually pretty irrelevant to the video. Back to the main topic. So a critical success on a saving throw removes the cool thing about saving throws, the unique thing about saving throws, that is that they always do damage. This is cool for the players, they love that stuff, but the same thing applies to monsters, who also roll saving throws and also can get natural 20s. Now let's turn to critical failures. You double the damage of the saving throw ability if you roll a natural 1. So here's the thing about saving throw abilities. Usually, when they do damage, it's not just one dice. It's multiple dice. It's a lot of dice. And if you double that, that's a lot of damage. Whereas with critical hits, very few classes and creatures are designed to have just a massive amount of dice that doubles. You have rogues with sneak attack, paladins with smites, and those attacks are doubled, but that's taken into consideration when they're considering the balance of the class and all of that. Saving throws are going to do a lot more damage if you can allow for the opportunity for double damage on a natural 1. And this unbalances the game. It tilts things in favor of saving throws and away from attack roll abilities. These are going to be more powerful, so players that use it and monsters that use it will be more powerful and feel more powerful, whereas players who use attack rolls mostly are going to feel left out. So because there's a lot more disadvantages to using critical successes or critical failures for saving throws, I don't recommend it. I do, like I said, recommend ability scores having critical successes and critical failures. So if you disagree with anything I've said, then please feel free to put it in the comments and we can have a discussion about D&D. But if I have convinced you about this issue, then let's see if I can convince you about something else. That intelligence is still dumb.